も話していた。左当たった。そして食いつきに行きます。しかし上になる。いやー、岡部さん、倒すなりますね。さあ、160キロの追いかぶさっている。左振り出している。しかしまた右の腕だ。右の腕。よっしゃ。人類最高。
Hello everyone, welcome to the Tristar gym. Today's lesson is going to be the armbar. But before we get into the armbar, I want to first congratulate Team Tristar. Last week at UFC 186 in Montreal, we had 5 competitors and we had 4 big wins, 1 by TKO, 1 by submission, and 2 unanimous decisions. I want to take the opportunity here to thank the coaching staff, all the members of Tristar Gym, all the sparring partners, everybody who lives in the dorm, who's traveled from around the world to be part of this team and make this one of the best places in the world to train. Just this week, SureDog ranked us as the 5th best place to train martial arts, and it's a great honor to be working with all these guys. And I hope we have continued success. And I really want to make sure to take a little time out and thank everyone. So right now we're going to be jumping right into the armbar. The first armbar we're going to be doing is the Pendulum Sweep armbar combination. This is a maneuver that I teach a lot at Tristar Gym. I really believe in it, and it works very well. We've had one submission of the night that came by Ivan Menjivar, and he uses this exact combo. I'm going to be showing it right now shortly. But before I do that, I want to just break down the basics of this armbar. So keep an eye on my right hand here. I'm going to slide it between his legs, elbow deep, all the way to my elbow here, and I'm going to swing my leg around, grabbing the armbar. Now, we all know how to grab a basic armbar. It's quite simple. It's day one stuff you learn in Jiu-jitsu. But there's different types of armbars. So I just want to bring a quick little notice here to the head positioning of my partner. Notice where my partner's head is here, and notice it in relation to my head. We have a diagonal line between the two. Now, whenever you have this diagonal line, your partner's head is not on top of yours. A lot of your back is touching the ground. When your back is touching the ground, you can't spin underneath. I'm going to be showing you guys how to spin underneath shortly. So when I can't spin underneath because my partner's head is not on top of mine, what I want to do is I want to hit the pendulum. Notice that my hips are not too high off the ground. So that's how you know when it's time to hit a pendulum, okay? When you're in this position. So right now I'm going to be hitting my pendulum here. My partner's hands are supposed to be locked together here. He forgot to lock them together. But just visualize him locking his hands together. I'm not able to crank the armbar. I'm not able to finish it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to flip him upside down. I'm going to sweep him. And once I sweep him here using the pendulum, I'm going to turn him to his back. Notice my left leg here. It's very important stuff. I'm locking my left leg around his shoulder. I continue the sweep. Continue the sweep here. And now I pass my leg over his head. And notice my hands are going to transition to our Armbar Kimura position. Okay, so I'm going to switch my hands to Kimura position. Now I did a whole breakdown on how to finish from this position. Okay, so you see that video on the right. I'm going to leave the how to finish the armbar tutorial in the description. So make sure you watch that next video, because in this video I'm just showing you how to get there. I'm not showing you what to do once you get there. Once you get to this Armbar Kimura combination, you should finish 9 times out of 10. The other 1 time out of 10, you should take the back. This is a very strong finishing position. A lot of people tell me, Coach, I'm good at passing the guard, I'm good at taking the back, but I just can't finish. Learn this position. I promise you will finish many guys, and you'll be known as an arm collector. This is a very, very strong finishing position. So I'm going to play this out. Don't forget to watch the finishing video. Very important stuff. So let's look at it again here. I'm going to slip my arm inside. I'm going to go to armbar. I can't finish the armbar. My partner's hands are locked. And I'm going to switch into a pendulum. I also did a pendulum tutorial. I'm going to leave that in the description as well. Make sure to watch that. There are a lot of details to know about the pendulum. So I go into my pendulum sweep. I lock my left leg around the shoulder. That brings me to a spiderweb type position. I'm going to forego the spiderweb position and switch to Kimura armbar grip here. It's a very strong position here. All right, let's see that again. Splitting the hands. Okay, so here's Ivan Menjivar. He's doing it in his fight here in UFC. You see his left hand's elbow deep. He's swinging right into armbar. As he starts swinging into his armbar position, notice his opponent is ducking the head so that leg, so Ivan's leg can't pass in front of his head, and he's locking his hands together, clinching his hands together, not allowing the armbar to be extended. Look what Ivan's gonna do. He's gonna combine the pendulum sweep with the armbar, exactly like he should. Now, when he did it, his opponent Azimat straightened out his arm, and that allowed Ivan to go back to armbar. So these two moves are interchangeable. That's the moral of the story of this this armbar. Okay, so here we go. Here's Ivan going right into pendulum. He already put his left hand inside the leg. Look how high his hips are off the ground. He's using a pendulum swing. He's not just going straight into armbar. He's combining armbar and pendulum beautifully. You know, some people have asked me, hey coach, can you give us for instance of pendulum being used in a high level competition? This is it. This is a great example right here. So Ivan goes into pendulum. Notice his opponent here putting his hand on the mat. Now, I also did a tutorial on that. I'll leave it in the description as well. Here you can armbar this arm here, you know, but Ivan forgoes that option. That is an option. There are many options here, and instead decides to continue with the pendulum swing. Now let's see what happens when he continues with the pendulum swing. His opponent, Azimat, unlocks his hands because he doesn't want to get swept, but leaves his arm behind. He has too many things to worry about. He's not able to goaltend all these attacks happening at once. And that's what I always tell my students. You can't just expect to be the good guy with one move. Moves don't work. It's a combination of moves you need. And that's what Ivan is doing here. He's using the pendulum attack simultaneously as he's using the armbar attack. Okay, so now we're going to be taking a look at a second possibility when you do armbar, a different type of armbar here. Okay, so now I'm going into my armbar, but notice my opponent's head. We're going to get a better view of this right after, okay? I'm going to rotate and spin. I'm going to flip him over and again end up in spiderweb position. Okay, so here it's done. My left hand goes, my right hand goes in. I swing my hips, but look at my hips now. My hips are really off the ground. We're going to get a better shot of the head position very shortly, but his head is almost right on top of mine. Okay, there's no more diagonal here. So because I'm in this situation, I'm stacked. Notice how little of my back is touching the ground. You know, when you have just a small amount of your back touching the ground, your hips are up in the air, your opponent is stacking you, that's when you know it's time to spin. I see a lot of guys trying to spin underneath when they're not in a spinning situation. You got to notice that when you're in a spinning situation or when you're in a pendulum situation. Now notice that my left hand is going to creep up under here and grab that leg to help me spin. I'm going to rotate 180 degrees. Watch this here. I'm going to reach up, rotate 180 degrees. And I'm going to land in what we call the power position. Okay, this is what John Danaher calls the power position. Notice my hips now are on the ground. Okay, my hips are going to curl up. They're going to invert. And then they're going to swing back the opposite way. Why am I doing that with my hips? That's what's going to give me the momentum to rip his leg off the ground and create a rotation. Okay, so let's see that happen here. Watch this. I'm going to lift my hips up. I'm going to slide my hand right underneath the ankle. Look how I grab his ankle. Here come the hips. I invert to my knees just slightly. I create some momentum with my hips and I start to pull. Now notice when I pull, very important stuff here. His leg has to stay bent. Okay, I'm using my grip here. This hand is pulling in this direction here to make sure his leg stays bent. Why do I want to keep his leg bent? Because it puts pressure on this hip right here. Okay, I'm bending his hip. By keeping this leg bent, you got to think about it like a kimura. Okay, you're doing a kimura action on his hip, and that's helping you turn him. Now notice his hips are now on top of mine. See right here. Once you get to this point, the guy is weightless. Okay, you can cruise here. This won't be heavy at all. Once you get to this point, you just rotate him gently, bring him down to the ground. You're in spiderweb position. For the guys who like spiderweb, work your spiderweb. I love spiderweb as well. I also like to switch into kimura grip like I was showing earlier. Here I'm going to let it play through again. Notice his head is stacking right over mine. My hips are off the ground. That's my cue to know when I need to spin. Here we go. I'm going to go pull on the leg, keep his leg bent. Hip action, hips go up, swing, create momentum, bring him right over into spiderweb position. Now here we have Shinya Aoki doing a beautiful armbar here. If you guys are not aware, you're not familiar with him, he's one of the most crippling jiu-jitsu practitioners. A great guy to watch. Watch his fights. He's a jiu-jitsu genius. Notice his opponent's head. His opponent's head is right on top of Shinya's. Right here. So what's Shinya going to do? Is he going to hit a pendulum? No way. He knows his jiu-jitsu. What's he going to do? He's going to spin right underneath. Now here his opponent actually tried to spin for him. He tried to scramble, but Shinya just rolled with it and found his way right on top. Look at that beautiful spin. Right into armbar. That arm is breaking. He's tapping as fast as he can. Shinya is known for crippling his opponents. Now here we have a different situation. I'm a big believer in what I call universal jiu-jitsu. Your jiu-jitsu should work on the mat in a street fight, IBJJF, submission only, anything. I mean, MMA, your jiu-jitsu should work across the board. Now look at this position here. I've had so many great world-class jiu-jitsu black belts come to the gym. We have world-class wrestlers, Olympians, etc., world champions, and I've been surprised to see a few, a few of the black belts when they get put up against the fence or they get put in a non-familiar situation. Maybe they have a gi background and now we're wrestling that day without gi, and their jiu-jitsu kind of falls apart, and we have a young kid maybe with 4 or 5 years experience and is controlling a long-time black belt. It was very surprising to me, but then I started to realize that, if they've never been put in that situation, it's normal that they can confuse. Think about the first time you were put in somebody's guard and you didn't know what you were doing. You got caught with stuff. It's just normal. So here's a quick shot of a common problem when you're trying to do armbar and some guy's raining down punches because you're stuck between the fence and the puncher, and then your jiu-jitsu just falls apart. Simple solution to this problem. Continue watching this video. You'll never have this problem again, and as a matter of fact, you'll turn that cage into a positive because it'll make your armbar even easier to do. Watch how I use the fence to rotate my hips here. I rotate 180 degrees. Now notice my opponent can't follow me. If he wanted to rotate 180 degrees, he wouldn't be able to because the fence is blocking him. He just doesn't have the room to follow me. So I'm able to escape him. Now, you might be thinking, Coach, he's going to yank this arm right out in this direction here. No problem. I'm going to go omoplata. I'm going to go triangle on his neck, or I'm going to attack this leg with an inverted knee bar or leg lock of some sort. Okay, so I'm turning this into a positive. I don't want to let him stack me and beat me up. My jiu-jitsu has to be universal, and therefore I'm going to be ready for this situation. Okay, you don't need to drill this for hours. If you know armbar, just get used to knowing your environment. Use your hand, use your foot. Of course, I'm doing this in slow motion. In a real fight, I would do it in an instant. And don't forget, your head is moving out of the way 180 degrees, so it's very hard for him to touch you. I'd like to thank Ivan Menjivar for this, the help he gave me in this episode, and for using the material in this episode so well and giving us such a great example. I really appreciate Ivan. He's one of our brown belts at Tristar Gym. He's a brown belt under me. He's subbed many great black belts in the octagon. He's beaten world-class fighters. He's a true veteran of the sport. And he's had a great year on the grappling circuit. He's been taking a break from MMA, doing a lot of grappling. He's beat 3 black belts this year, sub 2 of them. His jiu-jitsu is really coming a long way. And of course, the jiu-jitsu at Tristar Gym is heavily mixed with wrestling, so he's an excellent wrestler as well. He's done it all: striking, knockouts, suplexes, etc. So I'm a big fan of Ivan, not just his trainer, and I really appreciate all the help he gave me. Lastly, guys, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, comment. The more likes and shares we get, the more episodes we're gonna have, and the more special guests we can get on the show. It's very important for us to keep revving up the subscribers. We're doing about 1 show a week now. That's the time we're allowing it. But if we get more subscribers, more people behind it, we're gonna try to get to 2 or 3 episodes a week and have some special guests get involved with us. Thanks again, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.